I just heard someone go, Bruce, Bruce.
My fan.
You're a fan, babe.
One. Just one.
So I'm honored to be the editor here on stage with these two gentlemen who have so much to tell you, so I'm not going to take a minute more of your time and their time. But I did want to say that we were having a conversation in the back room, and it was about events of this magnitude, citywide, huge, unbelievable events that transcend everything difficult that we can be going through, whether it's politics or, things that are happening in the world. We want to focus, for that period on sports or on celebration. And I think that's what makes them so, so magical. So welcome to both of you. I think a picture tells 1,000 words. I think that's how you say it. So we'll start with a video and give you a taste of FIFA World Cup. It gives me chills. As a former New Yorker, can just picture it. Can you share a little bit about, I know we could do a whole session on the scope of the event, but share a little bit of what you're planning.
It's a big deal.
Exactly.
If you don't know that by now, I don't know where you've been.
It's just the beginning.
I often get corrected. I said it's the biggest sporting event we'll ever see in this region. It's the biggest event. And it's not because it's just FIFA and soccer. It's 40 days. We have a little game called the Finals at MetLife Stadium on July 19th, the biggest match, biggest game on the biggest stage. And we all should be very excited to be a part of it, but it is a big deal.
Well put. We have another small event coming up in 2026, Sail4th. Why don't we take a look?
The tall ships, graceful and dignified, sailed proudly down the harbor, a spectacle which perhaps will not be duplicated for another 100 years. America certainly knows how to throw itself a birthday party.
Wow.
Woo. I like that.
It's good, isn't it? So tell us what you've been doing.
I have one correction for Bruce. Sail4th is going to be.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, you teed that one up. The international fleets really coming to New York in a gesture of goodwill for America's 250th. These events are time-honored traditions. They only happen basically once in a generation. So the gathering of these fleets is a big deal. The ships are official representatives of their nations when they come. And so we're honored to be able to welcome them here. It's going to be tremendous, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. But I like to call this as kind of the grandest international goodwill event that you'll see in your lifetime.
Fabulous. And I know everybody here has a career interest in the planning of these, as well as a personal interest, because you're probably going to go to one or both if you're from the area. But why don't we start with the planning of these? how do you even, where are you in the process? And where did you start? Where are you and what are we looking at?
In football terms, we're in the second half. Probably have about 20 minutes left to play. Chris and I were talking backstage. We actually met in June of 2020, right in the heart of COVID. And I remember we were talking on the, I think we had a Zoom call, and no surprise in 2020 in the summer, it was tough here in New York City. And thinking about what you were going to be able to do 6 years from then, it seemed like a long ways away. Fast forward, we have less than 270 days left. The beauty of doing big events, if you're all in that business in New York City, is this is a muscle that we know. We know how to put on big events in New York and New Jersey. So what you do is you tap into those who have the expertise. Yes, everything we're doing around the World Cup is different in the sense that it's for 39 days. It's 5 boroughs. We're in New Jersey. We have a great partnership with the state of New Jersey. But you lean into those who have done it before, and you marry with what you need with respect to the event. But we have 4 pillars that we really lean into. It's security, it's transportation, it's legacy, and fan engagement. And we're trying to keep everything local. So everything we do is taking everything we've done and marrying against those 4 pillars, and also always keeping it local. But it takes a village. It will take 6 years to plan this.
6 years. What about you?
Yeah, well, same. Yeah, that meeting that we
Same
had
time frame.
followed our initial meeting with the foreign naval attachés over Zoom, and as we were talking about this, it was surreal, but it was kind of a quiet time, and it enabled us to really get the attention of the foreign countries, because that's really, for us, where it started, was recruiting these nations to come to, do we have an event? Do we have enough participation? And unlike the World Cup or other big events that recur on normal schedules and cycles, we recreate these events every time they happen. Basically from scratch. The last time the ships were here in this scope and scale was the Millennium Celebration here in the city for 2000, and that event actually touched a number of ports like this one. The ships are going to be going to New Orleans, Norfolk, Baltimore here for the main event, and then to Boston.
Right.
But the planning for this it's a very long timeline. Scheduling with the foreign countries, these ships are traveling the world constantly, on their international goodwill mission and their training mission. And so it's bringing them together, but then bringing the municipality together, the city. NYC Tourism was an early supporter of ours, and so that really kind of gave us a lot of the momentum we needed. The governor's office, the U.S. Navy, the federal government, and then all of the foreign nations, and then all of the thousands of other players, and we'll talk more about that, the safety and security side and all that.
Yeah. Why don't we talk about safety and security, because I'm sure the world is changing every week. So can you share what's behind it at this present moment for you, and how it might change again, because we were talking about that too.
Yeah, it's no surprise, security is probably the pillar in the 4 that we have. Again, we have a great relationship with state of New Jersey, and we're working with local, regional, federal law enforcement at all levels, really well, at all levels. And we look at our security is really defined in 2 different ways. It's the stadium. The stadium will likely be the most secure venue in the world when our matches happen. But we have a lot of what they call soft spots. Whenever you do an event that's open, we have fan engagement on both sides of the river. That's where we're putting a lot of our attention. And I will tell you that the meetings that we've had over the last really 2.5, 3 years, between New York NYPD, State of New Jersey, Secret Service, FBI, Homeland Security. I feel very good that we're not leaving anything to the imagination in the sense that that's when you become vulnerable, when you don't have a sense of what could be, the what ifs. And these are some of the best of the best. Not some, they are the best in New York, New Jersey. But you have to have everybody who participates, spectators, players, anybody who comes here feel like, okay, wherever we go, we're going to be safe. And that's a process that, while we've done it a lot in this region, we started probably our first real pillar of a task force was around security.
Security. And you're talking about the waterways.
Yeah, well,
it's a whole other.
Right, and so in the post 9/11 era, what the military calls the force protection status has changed quite a bit. And so for this event, we're going to be having a lot of gray-hulled Navy ships in the harbor, probably 50. Your typical fleet week these days is maybe 6 or 7. I used to run Fleet Week a long time ago, and back then we had 25, and so it's just shrunken. But that framework of the players with PD, Coast Guard, Homeland Security, all the same entities. Actually, there's the crossover. Bruce could be having one of the World Cup meetings, and then the same guys will come on the Sail4th meeting from all of the agencies, law enforcement throughout the region. And so the crossovers are very close, and it really, I think for safety and security wise, it's being looked at as one event, kind of, and it's going to integrate more so. But we do have that additional piece of this where on the water, there is going to be, like, as I was saying, the force protection part that is going to be a little bit different. And for us, it's going to be a huge information campaign challenge to make sure everyone that gets out there on the water, because we're expecting upwards of 30,000 private boaters to be out on the water. They all have to know what the rules of engagement are and where they're not supposed to go. And so that's going to be a big security challenge for us. But that work, though, has been ongoing, just like with World Cup now, for over 2 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Every possible security agency working together.
Right. Well, and we're also going to be hosting some tabletop exercises. And just as Bruce was saying, we have to think of everything, and we have to plan for any kind of scenario, and we have to think outside the box. And so we'll have a number of tabletop exercises on top of just the general planning, where we'll run through scenarios.
Okay. And you do have so many stakeholders, and there's such a political fabric, behind both of these events. I don't know how you even keep it straight, but you were talking quite a bit about that behind the scenes. Do you want to share?
Well, it's for us.
How do you even start?
Go first.
It's been interesting, but also very encouraging. So as I was saying, we've been working with the foreign attachés. There's a group of we're expecting 25 nations to send their ships or more.
Okay.
And the work with the international attaché groups has always been very encouraging. Everyone is incredibly positive. Everybody really sees this for what it is. This is we're celebrating America's 250th.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot to reflect on, but there's a lot to be thankful for and a lot to celebrate there. And all the allied nations really support that. And so for us, if we're talking about international politics, that has been very encouraging. And I think with both of these events, really, these are goodwill events. It's only good. It's positive. And so it's hard to take away something or find something to be really highly critical about it when it's really about, these events are about bringing people together. And so that's our goal.
Right. You've gone all the way to the White House to get support for this. Can you share a little bit about that? And then we'll move over to Bruce.
Well, yeah, obviously, President Trump's task force is interested in what we're doing. The administration has made it clear that there's a lot of support and there's a lot of energy going into 250 events across the nation. So we're part of America's 250th, and so that's that's what we're going to do.
So Bruce, we'd love to hear your side of the story.
It's been a little bit different than Sail4th250. I wish it was a little bit less profile. Well, listen, here's the reality. My wife reminds me of this all the time. She said, "Did you think you were going to be involved in the world's biggest event and it wasn't going to get political?" Right? I mean, that's the reality. We can only control what we can control. And what we mean by that is if you want to come to New York, New Jersey, we promise you we will do our best to keep you safe, to get you to where you want to go, to have, if you want to go to a fan engagement event, it will be spectacular, and that you all will do what you normally do when the world comes to New York, New Jersey. But yes, it's highly political at all levels, as we all know, and you have to work within the framework that the world's biggest event is going to draw attention. And you just have to control what you can control. And if you decide, we hope you do, decide to come to New York, New Jersey, we promise you a spectacular, safe experience. That's our motto at the host committee.
Yeah, and you have a team, like
We do have a team.
What does that look like?
And Chris knows this. I was the first employee, and now we have a team of about 27 people. We will probably flex up to between full and contract about 200 people between now and next June. We'll probably have, our volunteers, we're expecting about 13,000 volunteers over those 5 weeks. And, it does take a village, a big village.
Yeah. What does your team look like?
We're about the same now. We're in process of ramping up. So when we kind of reach that point where we've got our key players in place, probably about 25, plus all of we're relying on consultants and other support coming outside of that. So probably up to about 150, and then volunteers, we're still going through calculations now, but we're estimating about 2,000 volunteers, and then of course you've got to manage volunteers, and so.
I'm curious, do you get in for free if you volunteer?
Yes, well, one of the things about this event is it's free and open to the public. So this event is free and open to the public. There will be special access and special activations for sponsors and other supporters. But the events are free and open to the public.
Okay. You don't get in for free? No, I didn't think so. Just had to. They always say
I have to pay.
You have to pay? Okay.
The captains are asking me, can we get tickets? Is that part of our appearance? Do we get tickets to go to the game?
Hey.
I get a lot of requests.
So I don't have to be the only one asking questions. If you have any, please put them in the app, because it looks like we're running on schedule, so we might have a couple of minutes left. We were talking about challenges, like how do you sum up your biggest challenge in such a huge mega event, but we did come up with some ideas, and they were quite similar. Bruce, you want to share what we were? Yeah,
listen, as I said, I've learned over the last couple of years that the interference or the noise comes from the places that you didn't expect, but you should not be surprised that they come in. And really make sure, for us at least, that those things that you can't control, that you kick ass on, that you do the best job you can. And we understand, the mission statement for us has always been to take this big event and share it with everybody so that, the rising tide raises all boats. And that's very important to us. Control what you can control. oftentimes the outside noise, there's so much outside noise, oftentimes it cancels itself out. And at the end of the day, if you worry about it, you're back to where you started, but you spent all that nervous energy trying to accommodate all that noise. I think we've all gotten better as to what we need to pay attention to versus everything we paid attention to early on. So manage what you can manage as well as you can, understand the noise is going to come in, and just exhale. Exhale.
And sleep. You said you weren't sleeping well. I can only imagine the night before.
It's only 10 months.
It's only 10 months.
Yeah, for us it's the same, but it's, these events are so huge that they get so much momentum, and that we can use the metaphor of the large ship at speed, and it takes a long time to turn a ship that's moving quickly, and so that's really, I think Bruce just nailed it. It's making sure you have those systems in place, so you're anticipating and you're just managing. You're managing the issues as they come.
And at some point, the ship takes off, and you can't
Yeah,
do much at all.
the ships are coming, and it's interesting because I think about it. It's like all that groundwork that's done, that machine is moving, the big part of it, and so now it's just these other things on the side.
So we have a room full of people who are obviously concerned about visa issues for their own events. How are you navigating, this is an anonymous question, how are you navigating international visitors and visa issues? I know that's a challenge.
Well, I mean, Washington set up a task force for the World Cup designed largely around two areas, accelerating visas and security matters. All we're doing as the host cities is every time we get on to Washington is to make sure that the timelines are shorter on those countries that can come in. But we're constantly pushing that. But Bruce Revman does not control how fast a visa process works. But
You can't do that?
But 11 Bruce Revmans around with all the host cities have more of influence. So we're constantly focusing on that.
Yeah, for us too, because we have the international navies, so Customs, Border Patrol, they're part of our internal planning work groups. And so it's interesting because some of the ships will have sailors that will need to fly out and other sailors fly in, but if your passport is stamped your first touch of the American soil, it creates a little bit of a problem because, wait a minute, when that person goes to leave, well, you never came into the country because you didn't have your passport stamped the right way, or as part of this process. And so it's an interesting, unique problem with this whole thing. But we're finding, and we're getting these requests all the time, that the ships, they're going to bring family members. They want their family members to fly in from around the world and be there and see them in this this grand event. And so. But I think, as Bruce said, it's going to be, the standard processes are in place that will work. We'll be able to grease the skids a little bit for the navies involved, but for the most part, it's the systems at work.
No. We have a minute and a half, so I'm going to be able to ask my career question for the people in the audience. How do you get a job like this? No, you come from
well, listen,
New York, yeah.
I am of age where, I always say success is when you're ready for it and the opportunity arises. I was at NYC Tourism as well. I was one of the managing directors in events and sports. And when we were bidding on this, City Hall looked to NYC Tourism, and then NYC Tourism looked to me.
Right.
And we won the bid. When I got on to the bid process, we were still 3 years away from winning as a host city. And then when we won the bid, one of the requirements that FIFA has, if you don't have a host committee established, you have to create one. And City Hall asked me to stay on and take it through 2026. So right place, right time, but I don't think it's luck as much as I've been around a long time.
The muscle, you had the muscle. Yeah. And you were an event planner in the military, correct?
I was the party planner for the Coast Guard here.
Okay. There you go.
I was the Admiral's aide, so I got to plan all the big events and change of commands. But for this, it was like somebody had to do it, right? And that's what it was. And so,
Yep.
me and a group of colleagues who do these things came together, and here we are.
Here we are. And here we are with, we stopped at 0.01. Thank you so much for being here today. What a pleasure.